All right. So thank you so much for joining us. It's our big kickoff every year. It's really an exciting time for the LEED for Cities program at USGBC when we get to launch the national cohort and do our call for applications and look for cities, towns, and counties across the country who are ready to commit to certification in the program. So we're excited for you to join us today, and hopefully we'll see your applications coming through later in February, if not before. So let's get started. Just some quick introductions of the staff that are on. So I'm Hillary Bonador. I'm our VP for Cities. We've got David Abel, our Senior Manager, and Isabella Gross, our LEED for Cities Equity Fellow. And you're going to hear from all three of us today. There's this slide's also at the end of the deck if you missed jotting down our phone numbers and emails. But we really do welcome you reaching out to us if you have any questions. The cities@usgbc.org email address is also a place where you can get support on anything that you have along the way. But for the call today, what we plan to do, I'll just do a brief LEED for Cities introduction for folks that may be new to the rating system and certification program. Then David's going to talk about the details of the leadership program, and Isabella's going to facilitate a conversation with two of our program participants, one that's certified, well, one that's also certified a while ago at a different local government, but is a current participant. And there will be time for questions, so feel free to put them in the chat along the way. I think I enabled the chat to work for you all. If not, I'll take a look at that when I'm not talking. So just to get going here, so we're really excited about the program today because we have a new rating system. So just last summer, we were able to update the LEED for Cities rating system specific for local governments. This version that you see on the screen is written for cities, towns, and counties, and it brings in all of the feedback that we heard from projects that had gone through the certification process since the rating system was initially released back in 2019. So new rating system, written entirely for the local government audience. It's written for you. We've got projects that are working through it now that were part of the 2023 cohort. So we're already getting into the details of things. But some cool parts of the update, if you haven't taken a look at it yet, really brought in some new content areas, and then also kind of cleaned up or reorganized some categories just to make them clearer. So the quality of life category is a section where not a lot of new content, but more of a reorganization. There's now like an economic growth credit, an education credit, a public health credit, like specific, easy to navigate credits that relate back to the work that you do. The transportation and land use and materials and resources categories have a lot of new content, and we're many of the credits were rewritten. We have a lot more on mobility, ped and bike infrastructure, Vision Zero, things like that, and transportation. Over in MR, we just really wrote it to make more sense and really relate to the things that are happening on the ground in local governments. The responsible procurement credit is a cool new credit that I think you'll like. And then we have some other pretty cool new parts, like in energy and GHG emissions. That credit, or that category, we have a new net zero carbon and climate action credit. It brings in your whether you're making incremental progress toward your 2050 carbon neutrality target, as well as it rewards you for having a great climate action plan that's using science-based targets and includes interim targets, adaptation, and equity consideration. So that's just a little bit. Maybe we'll put in the chat the link to our YouTube channel where you can actually watch videos of all of the different categories. It's Isabella, David, and I kind of talking through the updates, but quick and easy to check out if you're interested. At this stage in the game, we have more than 130 local governments that have certified in LEED for Cities, and close to 200 that are registered. We'll hit 200 this year. When you say LEED, when you kind of go out to LEED for Cities and Communities, which is our sister program that works more at the neighborhood and community scale within jurisdictions, we have about 400 registered projects around the globe. And they're all different shapes and sizes. Our smallest project that certified in the last year was one of about 500 in population. But we also have worked with large cities like Dubai and Chicago and Surat that are in the millions, and Houston in the US. So a lot of diversity in our project size and type. Just going to talk a little bit about how the program, how the rating system, the framework, the certification program itself really helps to accelerate action. I mean, we're all about taking action and accelerating our progress. Just a few ideas here just to kind of get you thinking about how this is going to support your work at the local level. So like big picture, the framework, and I just showed you the scorecard, but that scorecard, the framework really is your management framework for sustainability. It covers the 3 dimensions of sustainability: economic, social, and environmental, really hitting on the triple bottom line, and covers pretty much all the things besides maybe religion and sports, but most things that are occurring in your jurisdiction are pretty well covered in the rating system. So when you get started with LEED for Cities, ideally you're going to build out a cross-departmental team and have this opportunity to break down silos and work across agencies, across departments, and of course with external stakeholders, but ultimately really helping to institutionalize sustainability within your local government. Maybe you're like the one and only sustainability manager. This is really going to help you to identify friends in other departments who are going to see how they relate to the work and can commit to, really supporting the goals and strategies within the program, and then bring them into the work that they do and make new connections. Really helpful for that in particular, whether you're a small place or a really large city like a Houston, where they can like really bring siloed agencies together in conversation about their long-term goals and whether their actions are leading to outcomes. Specifically with the program that we're delivering, the leadership program, we're really intending to foster peer-to-peer collaboration. So this is a national program that brings folks together from all different kinds of local governments. And it really is a great opportunity for you to meet new people and share your work as well, so that we, overall are advancing the work across the country. So really bringing leaders together that will then, like ripple effect in the communities where you live and operate. All of you are part of regional governments or county governments and state initiatives, and going back home and really bringing the work there. We've seen that happen in Florida, where there have been quite a number of over 30 local governments that have committed to LEED for Cities, and now they've really formed a bit of competition across the state for other places to get started, and then ultimately, get more points and all of that in the overall certification. I know many of you are probably involved in like the EPA CPRG program. Obviously, you have your own plans, whether it's the comprehensive plan, a sustainability or climate action plan. You're all planning, whether it's you or a different department that you're working in coordination with. But we should note that many local governments either plan along the way of going through certification, because the data that's collected is parallel or aligned with the same goals, or they'll go through the certification process, identify some of their gaps, things that they need to take forward, and then those will like get weaved directly into the plans. So these are just a handful of examples of plans that are aligned with LEED for Cities. And so as the plan is, beyond plan adoption, as the plan is implemented, the local government is also, making progress on their certification and recertification in LEED for Cities. One of our speakers, Stacy's in the photo on the right, from Issaquah. She had some really great posters, had to feature that great poster, but the LEED for Cities certification process one of the benefits is that it is a baseline assessment. It's an evaluation of where you are today, and it's an opportunity to really learn where your strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities are. So we really kind of value that part of the process and work with local governments to help them take their results forward once they get through it. Santa Fe on the far left put out a results report with certification, has great credit by credit where they need to go next, and opportunities for where they things that they need to invest in, whether it's through the CIP or the budget or through stakeholder engagement. Great resource that we can share with you. And then Greensboro, the piece in the middle, is just a good example of something like a graphic that they put on their website showing areas that they where they achieved the points, where they didn't achieve the points, so that they can work toward that in the future. This photo from Howard County is great because they brought together their county executive in Maryland as well as their US Senator to talk about, not only are we excited about the results and what we can do with them, but hey, how does it weave into the IRA and IIJA? And like, we're ready, like kind of thinking back to the Recovery Act, the shovel-ready projects. Howard County had all of the results from the LEED for Cities process and was really ready to go. They knew what they needed to do, and their staff was prepared to work on grant applications and go after those big funding opportunities that were coming down the pike. And so having the US Senator there to really talk about the value of LEED for Cities certification at this moment in time is huge. And that's something that we'll encourage all of you to do when you get to that certification milestone. The certification milestone is the fun part, of course, right? It's an opportunity to bring your mayor together, your stakeholders together. Maybe you'll celebrate with internal departments that engaged in the process and supported you with data. Maybe you'll have a breakfast or a lunch that brings in community stakeholders. Totally up to you. We always encourage the beautiful cake like Billings, Montana served up. It was really impressive with their certificate as part of the cake. But like I said, this is really an opportunity to bring your community together. And so when you get to that part of the process, we'll be here to support you and share examples. We have a whole PR kit for when you're done to think about how to leverage this work, how to take the next steps, and really amplify the successes and achievements at that milestone. But it really is such a huge opportunity to bring your mayor in, right? I mean, not everybody reports to the mayor or presents to the mayor on a regular basis. So engaging with the mayor's office or the county executive's office and having that opportunity to really celebrate the work is a big deal. And we're excited to be a part of it. So I'm going to pause here, about to turn it over to David, but just thought to take a moment to see if anyone wanted to put in the chat, like, what are you thinking? Like, how do you plan to use LEED for Cities? There's a whole bunch of ways that local governments use it on the screen right now, from identifying gaps to directing resources, improving your eligibility for grants, encouraging business development, economic activity. But if you have anything in mind of like what you're excited about or what you're thinking right now, we'd invite you to put that in the chat just for fun. And I'm going to hand it over to David, but I can continue doing slides if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great. Hello, everyone. David Abel on the LEED for Cities team, and I've been helping run the cohort for the past several years on the LEED for Cities team. And so I'm going to dive in a little bit about the ins and outs of the cohort and how it works. Next slide, please. All right, so for the past 6-8 years, we've worked with over 90 cities, towns, and counties across the U.S. To go through the certification process and be a part of our leadership program. I think that the exciting thing is there are all kinds of types of places that join. We have had very large cities like the city of Houston, San Diego County, Chicago, Atlanta that have been in the leadership program, as well as really small places that, going down to as small as 500 people So it is a scalable certification that is applicable to all sizes. And the other thing we like to talk about is applicable to all places, no matter where they are in their sustainability journey. If they've been doing the work for 20, 30 years, or if they're just writing their first sustainability climate action plan, the program is valuable to all. Next slide, please. Yeah, and so it is a cohort model. You know, applications are due here in a month or so. We bring the various cities that we have together to really work as a cohort to learn from one another, set goals, and opportunity to kind of do that idea exchange along the way, with the ultimate goal of reaching that certification milestone. Next slide, please. So kind of a list of the program benefits over here. I'll highlight a few of them. Those that are chosen to be in the program, you get access to technical expertise and project management support from the LEED for Cities team. We have a series of different educational and onboarding opportunities that we're going to roll out. We kick things off with a virtual kind of orientation, 2 half days. One nice thing about it being virtual is that we encourage you to invite not just the project lead, but any adjacent staff or leadership that might want to take part in it. We'll have regular monthly cohort calls that we often invite outside partner organizations where you can learn from their expertise and identify opportunities for engagement after you certify. Various resources along the way, access to the USGBC green building policy experts that are on staff. And then a couple of things there at the bottom is every cohort member will get a 1-year silver level membership for the city. And the registration fee is waived. The certification fee, which is paid at the time of submission, we're going to have scholarships made available as needed. So that's kind of the rundown of the benefits. So looking at the timeline, right now we're in that call for applications, educating all of you and any peers you may have that are interested in the program. Applications are due on February 15th. We will evaluate them internally and make decisions by March 1st. Things officially commence on April 1st. We'll spend time getting everyone set up, registered, etc., getting all the information, guidance documents to you. And then April and May is when we do the training, with the program year ending March 31st, 2025. Next slide, please. All right, so looking at kind of like the journey of certification. So registration and education are up front. You know, thinking of the leadership program, the summer typically is spent on that education front. We do the orientation, we go in depth on each category, prerequisite credit, so you understand the ins and outs of that. You internally will then be educating staff that you can go get data from to learn more about how, you know, what data do we have, what do we not have. And then that reporting period is going to be the majority of it, getting the data, put it into the format the LEED for Cities asks for, getting all your documentation boxes checked, and then submitting for certification. And, you know, the big thing here is this is kind of a baseline assessment of where you stand. So you're going to get that certification, you're going to celebrate, we'll be there with you to celebrate. But then the important thing is how you use that data to move forward towards that continuous improvement. Next slide, please. Yeah, so the orientation training I mentioned in April or May. This is really focusing on getting you and your team skilled up to understand what is LEED for Cities. That it is not just looking at city operations, not just looking at buildings, but looking at the jurisdiction as a whole, identifying that project plan, you know, identifying we really want to be certified within 9 months. So what do we need to do to get there? Or we want to be certified within 4 months or 12 months, whatever it may be, you know, coming up with that step-by-step plan. So a lot of project management training. And then we also invite past certified cities to come in to give you some lessons learned. And really it's about setting you up for success for the year ahead. So some things to kind of keep in mind about process itself. Everyone asks, how long does it take? How many staff hours does it take? And going back to that map, since we do have a variety of different types of places that have gone through the process, it's hard to put any specifics on the actual timing. And so, we say it takes anywhere from 9 to 12 months. We've had places certify as short as 3 months, and others have taken 18 to 24 months. But I think the thing that we encourage participants to think about from the start is, when do you want to have the certification in hand? Does it align with a comp plan update, a climate action plan, something like that, where it's going to take a little bit longer, but you're going to get value by doing it alongside that effort. Thinking about staff capacity, data availability, is data collection something that's always done? Do you have existing dashboard for some of this probably already exists or not? And then access to good interns. We've seen a lot of success with good college level, graduate level interns kind of being the ones that are helping to keep the city organized in the certification effort. All right, next slide, please. So preparing your application, please dig into the guide, the scorecard, the crosswalk tool, to start to assess, is this a process that you are well trained for, well planned for, and have data available to go through? You're not going to have everything, that's okay, but we want to ensure that those that are participating in the program are prepared to be able to get the data that is needed and will not be underwater when they start. That's why we have things like the crosswalk tool to kind of do a pre-feasibility assessment before you move forward. All right. Thank you all. Please reach out with questions. Our contact info will be at the end. We're here to help and make sure you have all your questions answered. All right, I'll change things over to Isabella and our guest speakers.
Thank you, David. So yeah, I think Maven Rogers from Florida is gonna hop on the call in a couple of minutes. She kind of had a tight timeline, so we'll start with Stacy. And Stacy, just wait. Yeah, okay. You're on now. You're ready. Okay, great. So Stacy is the sustainability manager at the city of Issaquah in Washington, located in King County. And Issaquah was they earned their certification in May 2023 and were the first in the state to earn gold. They had a really awesome application, got a lot of really great points. Stacy was also part of the local government leadership program from 2022 to 2023, and kind of a way that the program usually works is local government leaders do the program and then certify shortly afterwards. And Stacy and her team also brought together community and local government leaders for their certification event. So Stacy, maybe you can touch on how the certification has helped you engage with other agencies and departments internally around your results, and externally how it's influencing momentum or resulting in action in your region, in addition to anything else you'd like to share. I believe, yeah.
Great, thanks, Isabella. Yeah, just a little bit more of an overview. City of Issaquah and Cousitz, relevant for those on the call, is we're just outside Seattle, about 17 miles east of Seattle. We have a population of about 40,000 people. We have grown very rapidly, where we were about 8,000 just a decade or so ago. And we have about 250 staff on board. This work was done primarily by myself and then a student intern who was working on this project as well as other projects about 20 hours a week. And I'll talk a little bit more about our allocation of time. to this project. The reason we decided to pursue certification as well as this leadership program was I was brand new. We had completely reshaped our sustainability program. We had a brand new climate action plan. And so this was really an opportunity for us to establish a baseline and understand where we were with the redevelopment of our sustainability work. Also opportunity just for me personally, it was a great opportunity just to get to know the programs across the city and start to form those relationships that we would need for all of our work moving forward. We were also interested in just understanding where we sat with other jurisdictions across the country, as well as in our region. We wanted to identify any near-term priorities or actions we should be taking. And then we also saw some value in using a certification to really promote our work within the city, including our tourism industry and with businesses. What I didn't know going into the program was such great value that we would get out of the cohort, the opportunity to learn from each other, to share, understand how folks were approaching different criteria, just develop a new cohort of partners across the country that we've continued to stay in touch about other programming that we're doing, as well as just the value of the USGBC staff. David and the team were invaluable in really walking us through any challenges that we had with either finding data or figuring out how to present our results to meet the criteria. And then the other huge benefit that we had, and I don't remember, Hillary, if you spoke to whether or not that's a focus this year, but our cohort had a pretty strong focus on equity, and we had a series of, I believe, 4 trainings over the year, which were really invaluable and have been used throughout all of our work. So our team, we did form a work group made up of staff across the city. I would say we didn't actually use them as much as we originally thought that we would, but they were good to have some gut checks with, also for them to help create some linkages to staff within their departments if we were looking for specific data. It took us about a year to certify, and I would say the commitment per week varied. On average, probably 2 to 5 hours between myself and the intern that we were dedicating to this work. But by the time the fall came around and we really wanted to get our certification done early the next year, we definitely ramped up that time. We also had some other staff that weren't involved in the project go through our package for the final submission just to do kind of a QA QC, which was really valuable. And then if it's helpful as well, I can talk a little bit about what we did after the certification, I know Hillary touched on this a little bit, but
Yeah, definitely.
helpful.
Definitely helpful to hear.
So we wanted to take as much advantage as possible of the certification. As Hillary talked about, we did a luncheon where we put together posters. Would be happy to share those with folks that are looking for ways to celebrate the certification. We had speakers. We invited a number of elected officials. We had our Federal House Representative Kim Schreier, our mayor, a number of local electeds for the state, a number of partner organizations. We invited all the neighboring jurisdictions as well. We did a press release, and we got kind of surprising to me a little bit, quite a bit of attention. There was a TV news story done on a major local network, several articles written. So we were really excited about just the attention that it drew to this program, as well as our town, because Issaquah is really prides itself on its sustainability. So it was a great opportunity to highlight that further and maybe brag a little bit to our neighboring jurisdictions. And so kind of just wanted to mention too, kind of what's next is we have used the results to inform some near-term and long-term actions. For instance, just some simple things that we can do, like change out the rest of work with our utility to change out the rest of our street lights to LED, improving some water efficiency. We're also using the results to inform budget requests. We've been working on a toolkit for businesses and nonprofits so they can use promotion of the LEED certification for recruiting business, recruiting workers. And then we've really promoted out to the community. We were out at a number of community events to share the certification, just to really build that pride, sense of ownership, make sure that they all understand that this is also their responsibility to continue us down the track and hopefully receive a higher certification in the future. So that is a quick snapshot. I am more than happy to talk to folks that are considering going through the program, and I'll drop my email in the chat.
Thank you so much, Stacy, for that super well-rounded, in-depth summary of your experience. And yeah, if folks missed the email or anything and want to be connected to Stacy, you can also reach out to anyone on the USGBC team, and we'd be happy to connect you. So Maven is on the call. Shoot me a wave, Maven, if you're ready to speak. Awesome. Cool. Great. I'll do a little bit of an introduction, and then you can take it away, Maven. So Maven Rogers is currently at the city of Palm Coast in Florida, and previously actually was very involved in Orange County in Florida's their gold certification in 2022, where she organized a huge certification event, bringing a community together to recognize the county's achievement. And then currently, she was not done with the LEED for Cities program. She is now leading the certification effort for the city of Palm Coast and is a current participant in the local government cohort. Maven, maybe you can speak on how the Orange County certification brought a large community together and how that event went, and then presently what your experience is with the process of certification and the leadership program, as well as anything else you might want to add.
Perfect. Thanks, Isabella. And I do not see where I can turn my video on. So I may have to be off video unless, and that's okay too. I just have a mute button for some reason.
I'm not sure. Is there a way to make her a co-host?
That's okay. You know, and while you're figuring that out, I can start talking, and then if we get it figured out, but I would love to be on camera if I can. So, okay, great. Well, I want to just say first off that everyone on the call, I think that doing the LEED for Cities has been such a rewarding process in both my experiences. So I originally come from Orange County government, and during that time there,
I think your audio cut out for me.
I promoted her to panelist, and I think it like did okay, you're back.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm sorry about that.
Thanks,
No, this
Hillary.
is perfect. Thank you, Hillary. So I initially started my LEED for Cities journey at Orange County government. We received LEED Gold, and part of my job was to kind of get everybody together and, you know, celebrate, because one thing about LEED for Cities is it is such a collaborative effort that you're moving across multiple departments. And so it was really nice to have, we had it at our history museum. We had lots of media there. Hillary came down to see us, which that was so great. We loved having her there. And really everyone was just excited. It was also an opportunity to get our municipalities together. So as Orange County, we had different local representatives from different cities, so we could also highlight them and highlight their work. And so everyone really liked that. The employees, actually, you could tell that they felt proud about the work that they've done, which was really rewarding for us. And so, you know, really, I always suggest if you go down LEED for Cities certification, definitely having a celebratory event and highlighting some of these things is just such an essential part of the work. You know, I can't wait for us to get certified at the city because of Palm Coast, because I have all kinds of ideas of what we want to do this next time around, which kind of leads me to the certification process. Being the first time that I'm actually leading a LEED for City certification process at the city of Palm Coast, I think it's been so advantageous for us because last year was the first time that the city has brought on a sustainability position. And what LEED for Cities has done is it has given me the opportunity to reach out to different offices and say, hey, I actually really need this information, because you have your city manager that signs off on it, right? You have your council so you have this support, and it's a really great way to get that information that you need, because sometimes I find, we need so many different informations from different departments and they already have a pile of workload on them. And so this provides that avenue of saying, hey, I really would like to have some of this, and giving them enough time is something that I would also suggest, really trying to map it out at the beginning, what might be a heavier lift for you versus what might not be, and reaching out to those people so that way you're not working too close to deadlines, which I definitely have on this one, which honestly USGBC has been amazing at helping me get past those initial deadlines. I wish I was much farther than what I am now, but as we know, as city employees, things happen, grants happen. The sustainability departments are 1 to 2 people, sometimes 0. And so, USGBC has been really great on that. And so if you're worried about capacity, I wouldn't necessarily worry about that. I would have a conversation with Hillary or David or Isabella about that. And I'm sure that they could probably kind of worry any type, calm any type of anxiety that might bring that. But it's been also a great opportunity for our staff. So having them take ownership of this, they're actually researching on their own, and they're coming to me and they're like, I never knew this, and I didn't know this connected this way. And it's just such a great thing to see, because that's the work we do, and really that's the work we want them to do. And so it's really nice now that they also have that knowledge and they're in positions to make change, that they can say, well, actually our research shows this. And so I'm just really happy for it. The city of Palm Coast doesn't have a sustainability plan. We're going to use LEED for Cities to establish a sustainability plan. It also has been such a learning journey for me. There's certain things that have been involved that I didn't know about. It has additionally given me an opportunity to pursue a greenhouse gas inventory, because those are that's one of the credits that you can get on that. And, I think if it wasn't for LEED for Cities, my city might be like, maybe not a greenhouse gas inventory right now. But because of LEED for Cities, they're like, okay, we can do it now because we want the points, right? And so I think it's just such a wonderful experience, and I highly suggest it to everyone. And I'm also available if anyone has any questions or things. I can drop my email in the chat, and feel free to email me. But the process is amazing. The team is amazing. The metrics are something that's necessary as part of government operations, and I'm just really happy that we participated both times. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Maven. And yeah, thanks for hopping on the call with your time constraints as well. I'm sure if anyone has more questions or is also from the state of Florida, we'd be happy to connect you with Maven for some additional advice, insight, and yeah, we're gonna move on into a Q&A portion of the info webinar. So and Maven, yeah, thanks for dropping your email in the chat. And yeah, all the attendees, feel free to post some questions in the chat or in the Q&A box, actually, and we'd be happy to answer some questions. Feel free to unmute as well if you want to ask a question. Yeah, we'll give you all a second.
See a question? Are we able to see any sample submitted applications for our own reference? I don't know that we've shared other folks' applications before, but maybe we can just tell you, like, don't overthink it. We tried to make a brief and fairly easy to fill out application because we know you're all I was a sustainability director once, so been there, done that. We know you have a lot going on, especially now. So we tried to make it as simple as possible. Don't spend too much time on it. We're really trying to get always a diverse group of cities, towns, and counties that are coming at their programs from different, kind of different timelines. Like, Maven was brand new in her new position. Other folks, have been in their role for a really long time. So we want to look for, just a good, interesting group of people and local governments that will benefit each other. So really just try to get us some, good information in there, pretty straightforward stuff. I don't think we'll share. I mean, we could possibly I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that once cities are in the cohort, they have specific questions about how did the city approach this credit, then we can pull those sometimes. But the applications are confidential, so we need to keep them kind of internal. But we provide a good amount of information to help out make anything clear that people have questions.
Oh yeah, and that makes me raise the question: does the city of Carrollton mean the application for the leadership program or the application for certification? Those are two different things. So we haven't shared the call for applications, like the applications to get into this program. But we do have examples of prerequisites and credits, like what the certification application. We do a lot of sharing in that space. We don't make them available like online or anything, but we have a Dropbox folder that includes, example applications from past certifications. Now we are in a new rating system, so there are, some credits that folks are just starting to use in the 2023 cohort. So another example too, I guess, would be like if maybe you're a city in a county that's already certified, we tend to connect you with the county because they likely have credits and prereqs or even innovation credits that they've already put together that you could use. You could kind of copy and paste a lot of it. Or maybe there's just others in your region that have already found answers to things. We definitely make those connections for people to make it easier for you. Okay. How do you guys want to go about these?
There's a couple of Q&A questions I just answered. So certification fees, the certification review fee, which is due at the time of submission, is $8,000. And as I said earlier, we will have scholarships available in a need-based circumstances. And then how has the process changed? It used to be through Dropbox, but we talked about a little bit of changes. So the big change that Hillary was referencing was kind of in the content of the rating system. The process itself has not changed much. It is still offline. We don't use the LEED Online platform. The only platform we use is ARC, minimally put in data points, and then we get out of there. So it's Excel and Word-based. We have, templates that you use to kind of fill in the information. Yep. I think there's some questions in the chat as well. So does it make sense for a city who hasn't started a resilience plan or have a resilience department to get involved, or is it better to get more established? I mean, I'll try and first, but I think it does not. You don't have to have it established. I think you have to demonstrate in the application to the cohort that the jurisdiction has begun doing sustainability work one way or another, whether it's in plans or actions, that it is a priority because this process is going to take leadership, commitment, and data collection to go through the process. We definitely have had places that had just stood up an office. The person was brand new. They had no resilience, climate, sustainability plan in place, and this provided the framework and the backbone to build that office and that plan also. People that are new to the county, I kind of touched on that. Yeah, we've had a lot of people that are brand new to their jurisdiction. that this is one of their first tasks, and they have said that it was a huge benefit, actually, that by going through the certification process, they were able to learn a ton about their new jurisdiction and also elevate themselves and highlight themselves and the role that they play in the locality. So I think that, you know, it's a great orientation to your new city and a way to make connections that you'll use moving forward.
Someone's asking about how many pages are submitted as part of the total certification application. That varies depending on what you submit. So LEED for Cities does have prerequisites that everyone has to complete, but then you're really choosing the credits that you want to pursue based on the level that you're aiming for. So that depends. For a typical credit, you're usually gonna do a write-up narrative, and then you're gonna link to a document where that would be referring that you're referring to. So maybe you're talking about something that is in an existing plan or policy. You'd be attaching or linking to that plan or policy, but then also writing a narrative that explains how your local government met whatever the, if it's a strategy or more of a standard, how you've achieved it. So it really varies.
There are a couple questions in the Q&A section as well. One, if you participate in the cohort with a scholarship, is there a deadline by which to submit the certification? There is no hard deadline. I think every city kind of works with their own timeline, and we try to accommodate to that. We'd love for cities and counties to apply for certification shortly after the cohort year ends, but that doesn't always happen, and we totally understand that.
Yeah, a registered city can apply for the cohort. I know I see a couple of places that previously certified in earlier versions, like the pilot or even in the STAR community rating system. Those places would also be considered registered. So a registered project can apply. Absolutely. Obviously, we're trying to expand the tent, so get new places into, but we do support those that are coming back through since it's a new version. And on the equity training, equity focus and training, that's a good question. We can discuss that It's interesting that Stacy brought it up as a big benefit of the program, because we felt like a lot of the local governments felt like it was a lot of additional information in a time when they were pretty busy, like just working on the certification application. But with Isabella and an additional equity fellow that will be added for the program, we're talking about building out programming that wouldn't just be for the cohort, but would be for all of our registered cities, towns, and counties. Some of the content, the trainings that we provided in the 2022 group, stepping back could have been really valuable to have invited more local governments to. So we're looking at including that as just part of regular programming that we're going to do for all of the projects, all of the local governments engaged. Do you need to get personally certified in LEED for Cities in order to participate? I'm not exactly sure what that means. Maybe the attendee can give a little more context. This program is a program, though, leading to certification. So the ultimate goal is that we orient you, you get your team together, you collect your data, and you submit for certification. That is the purpose of this. We work in partnership with Bank of America, who has aligned strategic goals around equity, around climate, around sustainability, and their support for this program is really hinging on getting more local governments engaged and then certified, so that results then can turn to action and accelerate progress on sustainability and climate action around the country. So if you're not looking to certify, this is not the program for you. We have other programming coming up this year where we'll do more like professional training for folks that just want to get up to speed on LEED for Cities and LEED for Communities. We have workshops that will be more targeted at just learning a lot about the program and how to use the rating system in planning and policy making and you know, different efforts at the local level. But this cohort program really is intended to get you certified and to get you prepped so that you can do that. And then how long is certification good for and the cost? So for recertification. So when you certify, you'll receive whatever level you're at, you'll receive a seal that has your the year that you certified in. And so that year starts to look old after a while. We recommend a 5-year cycle. It has not been adopted in like USGBC policy that you must recertify on a 5-year cycle, but that is that's what we recommend. That's what our Cities and Communities Working Group, that's now become the Cities and Communities Consensus Body at USGBC, is recommending. And I expect that that group will probably have a more formal policy come out in the next year. But yeah, your certification mark does have the date on it. Oh, and recertification, the fee, we just charge, the certification review fee is the certification review fee. So if you bring an application back in as a recertification application, you would still pay the $8,000. That's paying for preliminary and final review and the certification review team at GBCI. And they spend a couple months on it. So each phase gets a 5-week review process. And then you get the application in the middle there to make any changes. But they spend a lot of time going through all of your details. How are we doing? Let's see. Many credits note the creation of policy and ordinances as part of the requirement. Roughly how much new policy is required to apply for certification. So like I mentioned earlier, this is like a baseline assessment of where you are today, right? So there are places, there are local governments we've worked with that have like just happened to have adopted something along, during the year that would also become something they could use as a credit. But most places are really, you're just taking an assessment of where you are today. And then if there are ordinances or if there is policy language in LEED for Cities that you've identified, oh man, we should work on that. It's a really great time you get your assessment, you get your certification results, you work with other agencies across your government to say, have we ever thought about this? Or, why aren't we doing this? It's a real great moment in time to kind of look at what your next steps are and what you should be prioritizing as a city or a county. So, we do not tell folks like, oh, you need to like run around and get like 5 new plans and policies done this year. That might happen. Maybe you're doing it, or maybe other departments are working on things that are just going to naturally get completed during the cycle. But typically, we're really recommending that you just go through the process, get your results, and then use those kind of gaps or the areas that you haven't focused on yet as like next steps to work on. I think Stacy added some context too in the chat. Okay. Anything else? Maybe I'll put our slide back up. That just shows our contact info so that folks. Oh, and there's another good shot of Stacy. I got all the Stacy pictures in there today. Applications will come to cities@usgbc.org. That's in the packet, so it should be pretty clear. The date for the applications is February 15th, so a little more than a month from now. Like I said, it's a short and sweet application. Don't spend, days on it. Hopefully you can just copy and paste some information from other things that you have. You're welcome, and we encourage you to let us know if you're going to apply. It gives us a heads up so we know what we're expecting, because frankly, most of you are going to send your applications in on the 15th of February, and we'll be sitting around wondering, I wonder if anybody's going to do this thing this year. And then we just get bombarded with applications, and it's kind of funny. But you could take some anxiety off of off of my February by letting us know that you're going to apply. You're more than welcome to reach out to any of us at any time with questions. We really want to make sure you feel ready and comfortable and excited. So we're here to support you, and we'll be there along the way as well. And yes, regular meetings with the cohort. So we do a monthly call where we bring everybody together as a group. We tend to have speakers come in for those that relate to the different categories, so that we're bringing in some thought leadership as well. We do some breakouts as part of those calls, just to get everybody catching up, what's going on, what are you guys working on? And then in addition, David is our point on technical solutioning, any big issues that y'all face. And so he will be holding office hours monthly as well. So people can just hop on those anytime over the hour, just to ask a question that comes out. Or come up, I should say. And I will be sending this link to the recording around for sure. Most of the slides are already on the website, the leadership program site. There's the info packet and the program packet. The info packet is this deck, and then the program packet has the application within it. Thanks for all the questions. This is great. For a minute there, I thought the chat wasn't enabled, but I realized you were all warming up. Okay, I think we got everything, right, Isabella? I'm not seeing any new ones.
No, we have everything. I'm just gonna post a link to the website, our site, where we have the application documents that Hillary just mentioned. And Elizabeth, great. That's great news that City of Coral Springs will be applying.
Yeah, we're excited to have a great group this year. It's going to be it's going to be a fun year. Hopefully too, folks are getting some support from state and federal resources to ramp up their offices and give you all the people that you need. Yes, please get the application in before the deadline. That would be good. February 15th. Okay, cool. Well, I think we've answered everything. We will wrap it up and hope to hear from you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to Stacy and Maven for hopping on too. They're
big
value.
to you both.
All right. See you later.